Hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. And the last time we were still in the result. So let's begin the third part of the trial. Like so. Boy, it's been quite some time, but here we are, October 24th, 9/11, the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo! Hi, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, Mr. Soames! You're here! You're no longer steampunk Japanese crazy man. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. See you later. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today.
Yes, you try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again.
Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but My dear fellows, I must interject. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Soames. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction. Sorry, I don't follow. Must I spell it out for you? I, the great Harlock Soames, the greatest detective of the land. Arouse at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree then. As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the cover, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred.
Oh my, Iris has been busy.
Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory.
Sorry to cut in.
Sorry to call her. Oh, it's Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with grim expression. Yeah, maybe. Are you going to take that into line now, Professor? What? I don't know! Poor Professor. Anyway. There's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I'm feeling it may prove useful. You won't believe it, because I had to jump through to get this brought out. It's the professor's autopsy report.
That mass murders?
Kill 5 members of the Arist. I cannot say Arist. Yeah. Who killed the 5 members of the
Izzy.
There we go. He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. All done on the wraps. He was quickly executed soon after trial. Done here. So we get the autopsy report. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. That's nearly all the honors done. Shadow the great detective soars. Well then, Professor Hairbrain, this is it. Today we're going to lay all this to rest at last.
I wish you the best of luck, Professor.
I suppose he'll be in there today with
Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness.
I'm amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel! Defendant! The trial's about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. This is it then. The final chapter. That's peaceful. I felt this before actually. Something's going to happen in this trial. I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Oh, boy. "19 minutes later, in the Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Hairbrain here present who stands with the moment. All the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed." The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Vanseas has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory lost. If I may, Lord Vanseas. Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes, my apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. I therefore instructed my assistant to attempt to ensure the smooth running of the trial. Nice clean cut. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments by still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment.
This is so very hard.
It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands the court made yesterday. said you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, madam. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very well. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty.
After such by deception and deceit, I find it so very
Don't we all? To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it is against the magician's code. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me. Amen, brother. Amen.
After such a one shall both height, the French, and they shall
How many ears are you eating? 4, 5. Wasn't like this my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Francis. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. Yesterday, at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case. A super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion effected by an unknown person or persons. It was what? Explosion! Here's an outrage! It's a beverage of outrage. Yes, I heard this great news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithereens, and the wreckage reduced to ashes in flame. I have here a photographic print of the scene taken in the wake of the explosion. It shows what little remains of the machine. Yes, terrible business. He dared to destroy the evidence, did he?
Trevor.
The court will take this prince as evidence, counsel. Excuse me. I had breakfast coming in. I mean, breakfast. Dinner. Well, I might as well call it first breakfast. I had some soup before recording. And some coffee. Chicken noodle and tuna. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the special dispensation of scientific equipment act was removed. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Yeah. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed. Most most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions that they caused. Or that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately caused its loss of control. As Lord Van Zieks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the event that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Osmond died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names comes on here. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Trevor, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Osmond. So, what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsel. The positions of prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zieks, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Trevor, to the stand. State your name and occupation. Name, Enoch Trevor. Occupation. Hard to pin down, I would say. See that blood marker? Yes, why do I feel as though I've seen someone before?
Oh, you too?
Yeah, exactly the same thing myself. You'll find a case that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. Theft of a waxwork model. Most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some time ago. The accused's super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Dillon, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it in precise accord with the blueprints, but that is all. Then the court will be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. Dude of robot. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was a bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up. But we all established that the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick. You've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the scene had been wholeheartedly by means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility procrastinated long enough. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration and the great exhibition. Understood. The kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Osmond's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to his precise specification. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? The prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Osmond had no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring art form. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceeding brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Trevor. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it is true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge matches more than that of any academic in the field. Investigation of weakness workshop attests to that claim. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science.
Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves.
If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past. Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? Counsel for defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. The kinesis machine. Okay, first off, let's do the following. Let's examine the wooden birdcage. Look here, Susanna.
Oh, yes, the wood is cracked, broken wood, because it fell from such a height.
Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying, down into the crystal tower below. Fall about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. So therefore, we got some details, more about the birdcage. And we present said birdcage right here. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day, which were at some point switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Good gracious, explain yourself, witness. Well, if we examine the facts, there is only one logical conclusion we come to. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. But multiple witnesses report claim it fell head first. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion. And after some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to furrow some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. This is a report that such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But the victim's neck was broken. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However, he fell. Surprising to find only two of its vertebrae closed. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. He wasn't far from I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Vences. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his. Gotta establish this deception and do it right. Sorry? I feel like that's the undertone here. Yes, there's more. There's one more point the defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick. As a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? Seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Trevor, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically after all. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in mid-air before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 13 feet. No! Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. By counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You indicate the place to which you are referring on the same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet. Right here. If it had fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance. If that's my learned friend's claim, I suggest he demonstrates for the court personally. Huh? And you may consider the body you counsel. Very freely. Give me recourse to make the next fall from 60 feet up.
is pointing to the machine. Let me check something because it says to the machine, but where on the machine? Give me a moment here. Okay. Right here. The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. 2 seconds. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But we must also consider the height of the stage itself. Turns out that the experimentation stage. Turns out the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but 2! My lovely friend has no evidence that the stage had no such contrivance in its design. Someone's responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. You can take a moment to look at the photographic evidence following his face exploding. Really, the floor of the machine is undone? Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Trevor, it was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of the machine that matters, a machine designed to take Mr. Osmond's life. Lay the blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Enoch Drebber. Error 404. Two, if my learned friend has reached the end of his wide assertions. The prosecution would like to crush the defense's arguments slowly but surely.
What?
Your argument fails to hold water. On two counts.
Two?
Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the commission's ship. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Trevor had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of birth cages.
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to.
Nonsense, the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your search is distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. Motive?
Do I have to think of everything myself?
I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Landry? The contract in which Mr. Trevor entered with the victim, Mr. Osmond. It reads, Mr. Trevor is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Surely very favorable contractual conditions.
But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause.
What provision? Mr. Trevor may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive.
In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract will become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Osmond's death. The diametric opposite, in fact.
Need I say more? The witness had neither opportunity nor reason to commit the alleged crime. And so the possibility of Mr. Trevor having done as you suggest is needed.
Ah!
Seems the defense assertion was somewhat wide remark. Lord Van Zix, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. There you go. That's true. Trevor had no opportunity to switch the bird cage from the stage with the one who accused the town. He couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what it might have been.
There's one aspect of your life. It still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution's unable to deny that. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, not alone. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too.
That would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say, I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead, my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think.
It's impossible that I am the culprit. At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been two. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. It told the culprit. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So, circumstances make it impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself. Points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, as you suggested. Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice. Accomplice? Well, then I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only the witness, but someone else of being serious crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? This is a little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Trevor had an accomplice or if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Trevor have an accomplice or not? He did. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Somehow the two birdcages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself's a clue. Counsel. Oh, my lord! You received a stock warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Wait, she's 16? She's 18. But Susano's 16? Well, her. The name of the person in question is. But it's wrong, my his friend. Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. I can very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
I'm sure it'll be alright, Naruhodo.
Thank you, Susato.
The enemy always appear larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
Alright then. Here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Consul, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe! What in blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe? Head of the fleet. And the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim? We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. And everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the fit. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. C be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Sorry, whatever. Just bring her to this goddamn stand. You got no right! Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud.
I didn't mean to.
I know the woman very well. Just go past that room walk out there. How dare you call her a criminal! My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the east and the north. East? But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there is another great problem in your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly, if the bird cage contained the body of the victim, it was changed for another. That cage must also have contained the body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths and even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one dead or alive who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for beast or horseman. That's true. That there were 2 bird cages, then there must have been 1 person inside each. I don't know if I got an answer to this yet. Can I get a reveal this by double stuff was achieved? I shall present some evidence. Very well. Defense will address my learned friend's concern by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Osmond's body double. Good gracious, evidence! I do hope this isn't filibustering, Counsel. The court's expecting of me. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and birdcage were hiding inside a boat that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So, wasn't that appear out of the explosion some 18 years above the spectators? Ah! The body double inside the second birdcage was... this. We know that the victim, Mr. Osmond, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contains something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower.
Yes, Counsel. According to your somewhat elaborate version of it.
And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact...
It's alright, Nadahoda. You're ready for this. Just tell yourself and come out with it.
Thank you, Susato. I need that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was... and as unbelievable it may seem, that thing there! Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipnese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Inosuke. This is time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago. The Professor! You started by indicating the leader of the feat as accomplishing this crime. And now you moved on to indicating that. Yes! That's about the subject. And why this one? It is nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know, ask Mr. Drebber. Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tussauds. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. The timing. Is it true, Mr. Drebber? I am error. At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the mice work and given it back. But now the reason's clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Osmond. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide? Wait! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord? I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Fuller. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Very good, in that case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
有罪
有罪
有罪有罪
有罪
有罪
See? So, as indicated by Foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. You know what's going on.
We shall get through this matter, as we always do. And uncover some new trips along the way. Quite sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to appeal to the jurors, as usual, to see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to clearly state for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime which he is charged. Judicial findings. The contentions. I've known that woman for years, never been accomplished with anything. It's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be united.
I fear this is most troubling. But surely the wax was stole. The man stole. Nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust him much. I've seen no rigorous proof that this Waxwork was ever inside the blood case. It's conjecture.
Accusing someone without right evidence is not proper justice, you see? I won't have it.
How much butter did you smear on that stand, you know? I just wanna know. Somewhat unsurprisingly. Seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that his face is scarred and his beard is in no way resembles that of the victim. I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it was Mr. Osmond's body double. Yes, the applause is definitely yes. I know, it seems extreme. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue one yet realizes.
What do you think, Naruto?
I can't explain why at the moment. I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model.
Really? Reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yeah, nothing else. Yes, I'm that convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, that's the case. We must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Agreed. We have to find a way out of this. If you're ready, Counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Hey! The rebuttal. What sort of problems? Let's say we have a run into each other on numerous occasions, but I am performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on the stage as we work in close proximity to audiences. So we perform our great magic on blocks, street corners, and but the police.
昔は
Really? The police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Automotive? Who you call a mass murderer? Huh? Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. I don't look anything like the man! You want me locked up, Sonny? Thanks, Mr. Solms. Perhaps we can move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to say, to add in response to what number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in the good old days. It wasn't like this! What was it like, sir? We wiped our fingers in the boner in the public church we did. That's how we ended. People respected us back then. Respect. No one would have called a coroner in question in them days. Coroner's report was a hallmark investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Coroner Stevens put her name to it. The best of the best. Apple before slap. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Sorry, got a big carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Sly's maiden name. Her maiden name. So that was before she was married. Of course she is. She's Simon. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. Anyway, point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. He's got a point. Same thing would say anything else. You go to church. You're greeted to praise and worship for about 30 minutes. And then after that, the old was this. We had praise and worship, and then it went into the message. And then after that, all the other bullshit aside, like, you know, basically, you know, coming attractions and whatnot. Or if it was First Sunday, it would be the following. Praise and worship be first. Then after that, we'd have something like the coming attractions, you know, greetings and all that. And then it'd be communion. Then if we were to present something to the congregation, we'd be singing. And then after that, it would be the message, then invitation, then benediction. Oh yeah, and by the way, there wouldn't be a guest speaker trying to drone it and just basically go into storytelling. It's like, if you got a message, say the message. You don't need to basically spread it to like a 30-minute story and you're telling nothing. You're just basically just making yourself sound good. So either you do or you don't. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include Batman? Yes, I don't see why not.
Courtney Stevens back when I knew him. Oh, legendary corner even then. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
So, number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I presume that you heard what number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Sai, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
But naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But Kelly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Sai's maiden name is Stevens. And through that name, the coroner is very differently linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence you say? I don't really tell you.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that possible. I very much hope there is substance to the claim.
Of course, my lord. I will ask the court to look at this. Evidence that clearly links Dr. Sai to the mass murderer known as the Professor is... redacted for confidentiality, pseudonym of the Professor. Death by hanging, confirmed at midnight, June 17th. Stevens. Dick. I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
10-year-old autopsy report? What evidence does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor.
The Professor's, but the man was a capital offender, sir.
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. What's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens.
Struck-a-lot!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Sai 10 years ago. A few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Two-Spells. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Osmond, at all.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of the link we've yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Sai and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Links, mysterious connections, secret relationship. This is almost extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further.
Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not Well, this cloud suspicious. Ain't it? Your best corner! Wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. Mickey!
It's the professor. That's what means that frightful swindler and the corner.
Oh, but sir.
But you claim the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry.
I grant you, given that this case appeared from the midst and exploded, there had been no need to use a real person. But if a waxman had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like a victim.
I'm not exactly sure how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the cage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not signed.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a watchword argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. Whatever absent means, his mind could be changed and we could manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that Professor White was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? Yeah, I got some. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh. I must warn you that I firmly believe that it's only wise to trust men in white coats.
Yeah, and most of them are evil. At least by the media viewpoint. I mean, the only one we can give a pass to will be Doctor Strange. We can't trust Doctor Doom, nor can we trust Doctor Octopus. Nor can we trust a guy in the Capcom verse that constantly is making more shit than we already have too much shit to deal with, Dr. Wily. But we can always trust Dr. Wise. Dr. Cossack, you know, we're on the fence about it.
So give me your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation.
So you don't trust anyone in black. Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the cage, namely with this right here.
What's that? Piece of glass? That was unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. The Crystal
Holy smoke!
Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
Which this small piece originated. Is that it?
Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you,
As I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, since you are more likely Dr. Light than Dr. Wiley, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in a little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside that book.
one, two, three. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious, whose statements do you refer, Counsel?
If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5. Yeah, stop eating. You've been on 99 right now.
Me?
You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the Waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you.
Oh, is that right?
What were you doing all that time? Eating some fucking corn? God damn. Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest.
So you're just here for product placement. Got it. Of course you don't.
I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me, as a man of science, not to pursue the matter further. Thank you.
Are you sure you're
You sorry?
just going to make sure you are? Yeah, okay. So, I always do the go against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between ears.
Fuck! I said call! If you call it back.
Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors are now called guilty, against 4 who called not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach consensus at this time, and the trial must continue.
We did it!
Oh, well done, Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory.
Blacksmith and despicable professor. Use everybody double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to read the assertion could not be true. However, it would be
waxwork professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Side. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, Lon. I really don't.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
If the court is to dedicate to the alleged involvement in the case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Here, Madame Tuspers. Eh? I really thought that the Ranzigs were object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I can go. Make arrangements for Madame Tuspers to appear as witness immediately. Listen carefully. Oh, yeah? You should know that you are on the brink of the court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for the taking of the stand. Madam Tuspers, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. And with that, I'm going to actually stop here. And with that, we're overwriting. And in the next part, we're going to continue. So stay tuned for the conclusion of this case right after this.